Alrighty, ladies and gents, coming up we have stories about movie theater snack etiquette. Crinkly packages, right? Why do they even make crinkly packaged snacks and sell them in movie theaters anymore? Invent like a silent package. Go forth, invent. Road trips gone wrong, meddling in relationships, leaving parties early, vacationing without all your children, messy breakups, suspicious spouses, and of course, spicy stories, a cake story, and a best reverted or update story. Hey yo, let's rock and roll. Hey there, it's Dusty with another Reddit story for you. This one comes from AITA and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Requesting My Wife Not Bring Candy into the Movie Theater? In case you're new here, or new to the Ask on scale, so 4 is you could have done it differently, 3 is you should have done it differently, 2 is you definitely should not have done that, and 1 is you're a terrible human. You're the worst. You're the worst. I asked my wife to leave a half bag of licorice at home and not bring it into the movie theater. I was told I was being controlling for requesting her to follow my beliefs. Your beliefs? Given I am a rule follower and it makes me uncomfortable to break the rules sometimes, and my wife considers these more of suggestions. Even though it would not be my first choice, in most cases I would not speak up. But this was a bit different. First, this is a small single-screen movie theater that has a lot of sentimental importance to me. I've been going there since I was a kid. They keep things really, really cheap comparative to the large chains, like $6 tickets, $4 popcorn, etc. So I really like to support this place. Second, this was a free event where they were showing a sporting event, so they were only making money through concessions. Granted, it was a stressful night. We had my in-laws staying with us for 2 weeks and our kids were being a bit extra, and we were running late, so there were other stressors involved, but it turned into a big thing about the stupid licorice. So, am I the astronaut for holding my ground and requesting that we follow the rules and only buy snacks from the concessions? Okay, this is a different kind of conversation now. Yeah, beliefs. However, I think, you know, speaking of anxiety, we've got somebody who has anxiety about following the rules here. And when they're with somebody who intentionally does not, it makes them uncomfortable. Now, if you know that your partner gets uncomfortable when you do certain things, would you not try to not do those things and not make them uncomfortable? To help give some feedback on this story, we have the one and only, the wonderful, the majestic, the beautiful, the intelligent, the smart, and funny as hell, Candy Thunder.
That was a lot.
She squeezed my arm. She's like, shut up. She's like, shut up.
So I think that when we go to the movie theater, we always buy popcorn and drinks. Like, that's a given. If we're going to go, we're going to commit and, you know, spend the full $100 to go. But
that's what happens when you have 27 children.
I know. When it comes to candy, I don't know. Like, it's like if we have it at home, we'll probably just bring it. But if we're going there and we see something, the kids love the cookie dough bites, then we'll just get it from there. But I feel like, I don't know. We don't bring crinkly packages, so I would like dump it into a sandwich bag if we had it at home. But we're always going to like our local theater. It's not a big chain. And we support, I guess, by buying the popcorn and the drinks. And then if we have candy, we'll bring it. But I don't really feel like it's a big deal. I feel like this is like one of those marriage spats where it's like, at the end of the day, is it really a big deal? Because like, this is like a pick your battles moment. Like, your wife wants to bring it and you don't want to bring it. So if you don't want to bring it, then just buy some there.
But it is, for me, this is a bigger issue because it is something he's clearly got anxiety about rule following, right? So where that comes from, we don't know. But he gets really bent out of shape when people don't follow the rules. Like, he's going to sit there and not be able to enjoy the movie because he's going to be looking over his shoulder the entire time for the freaking snack police, right?
Okay, but
the ushers to come down with flashlights and be like, "You, is that licorice from here?" And he's going to be like, "No, it's not." And the wife is going to be like, "I brought it from home, off," and he's going to be like, "It's her fault."
Okay, but hear me out. I'm all about rule following. But why in the hell are we charging 4 times the amount that they charge at a store for the same candy?
But they aren't here.
But why?
In general, a movie theater, yeah.
Like, when you go to a movie theater, the candy, it's all absurd. Except for the ticket prices at our local theater. The amount for the popcorn and a drink is absurd. The amount for the candy is absurd. And so trying to go and like, I don't know, I guess it's probably just dependent on how you were raised, which is why I say, and I don't think anyone is a bad person if they bring candy into a movie theater. Like I just don't. But like it was a treat when we were younger, when we got to go and we couldn't always afford candy. So it's like we could get the popcorn, but sometimes we would just bring candy. And I don't think that makes people like shitty for bringing it in. I feel like I still think it's, in my opinion, an ESH because it's not worth fighting over. It's not something that you should fight over. If you're that much of a rule follower and you know your wife, like why is his opinion on this more than, like why does it weigh more than hers?
Because his creates discomfort.
But maybe hers does too. Maybe she feels like
following the rules makes her uncomfortable.
Maybe overpriced candy and shit like that makes her uncomfortable. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just saying, why does he get to be comfortable and she doesn't, and why should she be uncomfortable and he shouldn't? Like why can't they just agree to disagree and move the on with their lives instead of like dying on this hill?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and my whole deal is that if he does have anxiety about following the rules, and if she is fully aware of this, and she knows that her bringing candy is going to stress him out, and he's not going to be able to enjoy the movie, which in turn will make her not enjoy the movie.
Then he needs therapy.
Agreed.
If this is how you feel, then you need therapy.
But if you've got something that you know is going to make your partner uncomfortable, and it's a minor thing, like what harm would it cause to leave that licorice behind if it's going to make him that uncomfortable? That's my point.
No, and I see it. I see both ways, which is why I'm like, this is an ESH, because I don't think this is a fight. Like, I don't know. I just don't think this is a fight worth having.
I agree that it's an ESH. I think it probably is a fight worth having, but not. I feel like he is lost in the minutia, not minutia. He's got this micro view of this problem, but it's the macro problem, right? It is
right.
The problem is much larger than just this isolated thing. The problem is that he's got this anxiety about following the rules that prevents him from being able to enjoy normal daily life things. If he worked on that, they wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Right.
So he needs to work on that. She needs to support him in doing that. But in the meantime, if she knows, like if there's something that you know would make me extremely uncomfortable, you would try to avoid doing that kind of thing.
But I feel like this is a pick your battle moment. And if you can't pick your battle and you have this much anxiety over something that brings your partner joy because you're taking something from her and like and gets his side, then you need to address that because that's a you problem. And I also know that somebody said like the theaters don't make a lot of money on the ticket, like on the overhead of their ticket costs. And I get that, but I still feel like you would eliminate the issue of people bringing in candy if you just sold it for what it costs outside of the movie theater. Like more people are going to purchase it, right? Or do some kind of discount. You buy popcorn, you get candy for whatever. That's a whole marketing thing. But I don't. It's like when you walk into a stadium and a freaking water bottle is $6. It's like, come on, like let's stop the bullshit.
Captive audience.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. But I'm like, I understand it, and I understand that people want to go to the theater and they don't want to be nickel and dime to death. But at the same time, it's like I always make sure to buy something if I want to bring my candy in. I'm going to give them money in some way, shape, or form on top of my ticket, because let's face it, movie theater popcorn is just so good. Yes. Yummy. It's the best. It's the best.
Hit the button, lady. We're going ESH. And I agree. I agree
with what you're saying, too. I completely understand what you're saying.
And great Annie Kiki, he did explain that this is a free event. So the only way that they're making any money, period, is through the concession sales.
So they don't pay for their tickets.
But like I've seen other commenters say, he can help become a donor that supports the movie theater. There's lots of things that he can do to balance this out in his mind so that he's not all bent out of shape about it. I don't think that's going to resolve the issue for him because it's a rules thing, right? Ladies and gents, it's Dusty Thunder once again with another Reddit story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for making my friends drive back home during a road trip because I didn't want to stay overnight? So So I was on a road trip with a few friends this past weekend. We were supposed to drive out to the small town, grab some food, check out a couple of spots, and then head back the same day. Simple enough. While we were there, we stumbled across the bar that had a live band playing, and my friends got super into it. They wanted to stick around, grab some drinks, and make a night out of it. Admittedly, I was super into the idea too because it was very much up my alley. The thing is, none of us had planned to stay overnight. We didn't pack anything, and the plan was always to go home after. See, this kind of information would have been important in the title, OP. They started talking about just booking a cheap motel in walking distance and staying the night so we could keep hanging out. I immediately said I was not cool with that because I can't sleep unless I'm in my own pajamas, and I didn't bring them. It's just how I am. And I figured since this was a day trip, it wouldn't be an issue. They tried convincing me to just go with it and stay the night, but I wasn't budging. I said if someone drove me to a store before they closed, I'd be happy to buy some pajamas, but nothing was open nearby. I said someone could stay sober as the DD, but none of them wanted to do that. I don't have a license, so I couldn't be the DD. Oh, sorry. They even offered to not make me chip in for the motel, which was nice, but I was wearing a nice shirt and jeans, aka clothes I could not sleep in. In the end, since I can't drive, they all had to pack it up and head home with me. The whole ride back was awkward. None of them really said anything, but I could tell that they were pissed. Now I feel like the bad guy for not just going along with the change of plans, but honestly, I just didn't want to be stuck somewhere overnight without my stuff. So, am I the astronaut? Ellen, I would need medication, so I'd have to go home. It was supposed to be a day trip, so NTA. OP sounds annoying, Rhea. I don't know. So the plan from the get-go was for them to just go during the day and then come back. And like, I would want my stuff. I'm a little more rigid in my ways, though. We don't know ages of anybody here. We don't have ages of anybody. So it was a friend group, but they don't have like kids or there's nothing like that involved. Maybe I'm just an old curmudgeon, and I'd be like, I need my things. Like I need my pillow. I need my book. Like I need my things. I mean, this was the plan. The plan was to come back. You just stuck to the plan instead of being spontaneous. Now, I think in regards to, are you an astronaut for making them come back and going against the pivot that they were voting for? Probably to them. I'm sure they would have had more fun if they had stuck around, and now they might be salty about it, but they also have to be a little bit understanding because the plan was always to come back. So even though they're salty with you, I don't think they can fault you too much for it. And, you know, when we look at this, it is I could have done it differently, should have done it differently, definitely shouldn't have done that, or you're a terrible human. Look, they can't even call you an asshole for that. They can't. No pre-communication happened. Nobody was prepared. They were just willing to basically sleep in their clothes or whatever, probably to get drunk enough to where it didn't matter what they were wearing. They were just going to pass out wherever they were anyway. You were the only one not willing to go with the flow and party hardy and just ride it out. Tony Spark, I'm curious, what would you do here?
This is where you and I are very different people, and like me and OP are very different people, because I am one of the friends who wants to just stay and party, and I don't care. I'll just sleep in the clothes that I have on, wake up in the morning, get up, and you go home and change, shower. And
I've been in that phase of my life
because before. To me, like, I don't know, it's more fun. Like if we're having fun and having a good time, and the band is good, the bar is fun. Like why? I mean, we can stay across. It's not a big deal. Yeah. I don't think. But if you had a plan that was always we're going to this little town during the day and then we're coming back that night, and if there were 4 of you, and if there were one person that was like, I don't want to stay, would you be pissed at that person? I wouldn't be pissed at that person. I mean, I would be a little disappointed. I'd be like, I mean, come on. I mean, I would be the one like, come on, like it'll be fine. Like let's just. But I would also probably do the solution of like, hey, let's go buy some clothes. Like you want to go? Let's run over here. We'll go get you some stuff. We'll DoorDash you some clothes right now. Whatever. Like I would be that guy looking for the solution of how do we stay and keep partying instead of like being mad at that person. Right. Be like, I would exhaust all the options before we had to go back.
Well, they said road trip, so I'm guessing it's not some kind of easy, let's just get this person an Uber to get them home and then we can stay kind of thing too. But you know what Moira says? Every party needs a pooper.
Yeah. But see, I'm also the guy that like, even if I'm going somewhere, Like if I'm going, maybe not a road trip, but if like I'm going somewhere, I will more often than not bring a bag of everything I need just in case.
Your day bag.
So I'm always ready for whatever is going to happen. Like I'll bring a bag, change of clothes, whatever. Be like, I'll sleep in my truck if that is what happens.
Yeah.
But like,
so you know what? And maybe that's the solution here, OP. Maybe that's the solution here. So the conversation at this point with your friends is like, hey guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I was the party pooper. I understand that I was the party pooper, but it would not have been enjoyable for me, and I would have been even more of a party pooper if I did stay. So this was the only way. However, next time I'll make sure that I bring a day bag, and then that way, if we end up pivoting, I'm at least more prepared in there. And then if you guys in turn think that there's the possibility that plans could change or be fluid and can communicate with me, then I can be even more prepared. And then there's a much higher likelihood of me saying yes next time. So yes, acknowledge the fact that you were the party pooper here. They can't fault you for it. I mean, they can fault you for it, but they really can't. I mean, it was always the plan to come back, but you're just the party pooper now. And that's okay. You own it. They know it, but I think if you have some kind of solution plan to make sure that you avoid this pickle again, everybody would come out of it happy, right? Tony Sparks, the guy disconnecting his battery cables once you get down there. So when you try to get back to the truck to leave, it's like, oh, we're stuck, guys. I guess we're staying the night. During my total freedom party days, I would have been all for it. It didn't matter. Like, yeah, you stay the night, stay the week, whatever, man, let's go. At this point in my life, it'd be like a hell no. Look, every minute of my life is planned and booked for something way ahead of time. There's no way that I can have that kind of like freedom and flexibility to just do whatever. So, yeah, definitely would not do that now. I'd be the party pooper, 100%. Wasn't always that way though, and everybody's a little bit different, I guess. Ladies and gentlemen, what is this book? Oh, look at this. We have a cake story with an animation. I forgot I made that. I forgot I made it. It's been sitting there for a hot minute. Title of this cake story is, Am I the Astronaut for Calling Out a Coworker Who Uses My Birthday as a Way to Treat Her Kids? I, Sarah, 31 female, work in a relatively small office of about 30. When coworkers' birthdays roll around, I'm usually the resident baker that makes them what they want or buy them what they want. I am big on making birthdays special. That being said, usually on my birthday, there is this one coworker, we shall call her Minnie the Moocher, 41 female, who for some reason takes it upon herself to be very self-proclaimed handler of my birthdays, and every year she likes to get me a cookie cake. This is her favorite, not mine, but for some reason she has decided it is my favorite. I have tried to tell her directly and indirectly that I do not like cookie cakes, but she laughs it off and says, oh, I get it for you so I can take the leftovers home to my kids. She says this because the cookie cakes are mostly not eaten by all, and I do usually tell her to take it home because I won't. It should be noted that all cakes, etc., are paid for by the company, even if I make it. Last year, she was on vacation during my birthday. Another coworker, we'll call her Linda, bought my cake that year, and she got my favorite, a chantilly cake from Whole Foods. Is it chantilly? Chantilly? Is that right? Chantilly. Chantilly? Chantilly. Okay. A chantilly cake from Whole Foods. Did I get it? Thank you. Thank you, guys. Saved my butt again. This is the same I bought for her the year before, and she remembered I told her it was my favorite, and she got me the same. Hey, you know what? For this coworker, dropping a green flag, because her just remembering that the year prior on her birthday, you mentioned that cake was your favorite, and then happens to be called off the bench to cover your birthday the next year, and is like, bingo. That's consideration right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's huge. This year, my birthday rolled around and Linda was all set to order a chantilly cake. And Minnie got wind of it and told her she would handle it because Sarah likes cookie cakes. Linda is direct and told her pretty firmly that I, in fact, do not like cookie cakes. This upset Minnie, who had her heart set on a cookie cake as before, but Linda was pretty firm. When Linda went to pick up my cake, they told her the cake order had been canceled. Linda was confused as she ordered the cake the week before and did not cancel. Fast forward to the next day, by then, all in the office knew. They pretty much thought that WF messed up. Whole Foods. Oh my God.
Oh.
Hold on. Shame. Shame. Fast forward to the next day. By then, all in the office knew. They pretty much thought that Whole Foods messed up. It makes so much more sense now. Linda shared what happened with Minnie. Shockingly, Minnie told Linda that she canceled the cake because she felt, I was ungrateful that for years I got a cookie cake and that I knew she took it home to her kids as a treat and that if her kids couldn't get anything, neither could I. Seriously, she said this and Linda was speechless for about 2 seconds. Minnie, what the f? You are so ungrateful for my gifting you a cake that the company paid for that I know you don't like, but I only get because I want to take it home to my kids who do eat it. Bitch. What? I got wind of this and also confronted Minnie, asking her why she did this, and she told me the same, that it was the only time other than her birthday that she can take this treat home to her kids, and she felt I was being a witch and didn't deserve anything. I rarely lose my temper, but on this, I told her that she was an asshole for doing this and using me and my birthday. I just feel bad, but at the same time, this is not my responsibility. Just to note, Minnie is not destitute, just cheap. So, am I the astronaut? By the way, HR is involved now. Oh boy, that doesn't sound like my Minnie. That's very un-Minnie-like, Minnie. Minnie the Moocher. Though, she did 100% take advantage of you and your birthday and even openly admitted it. And was just like, the company's paying for it. Why do you give a shit? It's just your birthday. You're an asshole. You're taking away from my children. That's the way that she utilized this because they have now become dependent on it. And now they know this date every year, Mama comes home with a cookie cake. They don't know why. It's got some lady's name on it that they don't know. But Mama comes home with a cookie cake. This is a terrible person. You, OP, NTA, your friend, green flag. Keep that friend at work close because they are an ally, 100%. Good job, Minnie. Way to go. Way to go. Also, the worst part of her being the worst, which is what I was trying to say earlier and failed gloriously, is that she is teaching her kids this is okay. Seriously, they're seeing a cake come home, a cookie cake. These kids get a cookie cake home every year with some lady's name on it that they don't know, that their mom basically stole. And they're like, yeah, this is what happens this day every year. It's terrible. She might scrape the name off. Yeah. She has a different name on like wax paper ready to go. Just slides it off. Like, look at that. This is just because day, children. Oh no, someone took a bite out of it again, just like last year. What is a cookie cake? Jarby says. Oh dear. Does the rest of the world not know about the magic of a cookie cake? And Angel, yes, I said magic. Some of them can be magical, but it's not a cake. I do agree with you there. It's not a cake. It's a giant cookie with a different kind of icing on it. It is not cake. They called it a cake because of the size. Like that's it. But they're not bad. It's a pizza-sized cookie. Yes. Or like even bigger. Think of a giant pizza. It's that kind of size. But you can buy like individual slices at the Great American Cookie Company in several malls around here. They're super rich though. I could maybe eat like one bite and that's it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for injecting myself in my best friend's relationship because I think he is being a neglectful husband and father? Wow, that's loaded. Okay. My 31 female best friend, 31 female since college, is married to a guy, 35 male, whose life revolves around their college's college football team and, from my view, getting drunk. They are married with 2 kids, and I get the vibe that he isn't helpful. He spends every Saturday tailgating all day and then going to the game. This is literally a 12-hour day that he is away from his wife and kids. She goes to every game, but it's less than half of the time that he spends. She goes to every game, but it's less than half the time. Okay, gotcha. We were talking this last game, and apparently he had friends in town that he hadn't seen in a long time and got very drunk. Apparently he was very loud, drunk, and obnoxious the whole time. He went out that night too and left her to parent both the kids by herself. She's still breastfeeding, so she doesn't really drink right now, and it seemed like she was frustrated with him. I've never really liked him, and I always thought he was not great for her or nice in general. Following social media, this has been something he has been doing for years. I went to the tailgate once and I found it to be a miserable experience. He was clearly drunk and yelling, "F this and f that." I reached out to him. I sent him a DM on Instagram outlining my issues with him and said he needed to be better. The gist was that he needed to sober up and start planning your life around the kids and not his stupid sports team. He blocked me. That night, my best friend calls me and asks what I'm doing. I told her I'm trying to give him a wake-up call, that he needs to get his shit together or you guys won't last. I said I could tell you were frustrated with him. She said she was frustrated, but one of the friends he was with, he hadn't seen in 5 years at least. She said that he was up until 6:30 a.m. helping with the kids despite being out till 1 a.m. She says my message has caused a big fight and she is mad at me. Says her husband is great with the kids and only drinks on Saturdays with friends. She said she likes going to the football games, which I don't believe, and explained that I was trying to help her out. I told her to wake up. This wasn't a good relationship for her. She called me an asshole. She blocked me on social media. Every time I call, she won't answer and texts back that we have a lot to talk about, but first I owe her husband an apology. I'm not going to do that. Am I the astronaut? Yeah, this is way different than I assumed it was from the title. From the title, it sounded like this was a dude, number one, asking about his male friend that he thought was screwing up. Let me read that title again. You'll see what I mean. Am I the astronaut for injecting myself in my best friend's relationship because I think he is being a neglectful husband and father? This makes it sound like her best friend is the guy. Or OP's best friend is the guy. Yeah, she didn't give a proper explanation in there. It was a misleading title. So I blame our screwing up the poll on OP's lack of a valid title here. But not just the poll. The approach when we talked about you could easily go too far here. It's not even the same starting point because instead of it being your bestie that you're trying to call out on their bullshit, you are speaking on behalf of your bestie to their partner. That's the person you have problems with, but your bestie hasn't even vented about any of these problems to you, hasn't even indicated to you that this is a problem for her at all. You saw this situation happening. It frustrated you, and you started placing feelings inside of people and then acting upon them. You've meddled. You injecting yourself in your best friend's relationship because you think her partner is being a neglectful husband and father is a dumb and bold move. And I say bold because you take a risk. You don't know what's going to happen here. You take a risk that things could turn real south for your bestie here. If this is a troubling situation beyond what you even know about, you could have put them at risk. Like, you don't tread into that territory. You don't. Especially without talking to your bestie about it first, and especially only having that conversation after your bestie has confided in you that she is struggling with all these things and is frustrated by them and wishes they would change and has already talked to her husband and they've gone to therapy and they've done all the things. Like the point at which you would get involved in having a conversation with your bestie's partner is so far down the road that it's a speck, not even visible yet, because none of the prior prerequisites have happened yet. This isn't just dumb. This is dangerous. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. Yeah, they do say that when you assume. I don't like it. I don't like it, brother, as Navy Thunder would say. I don't like it, brother. I'm giving you Ask on 1, OP. Maybe that's going a little bit hard on this, but I think it was driven not by malice, but by ignorance, which means that you're on Bizzo watch too. It's not your relationship. It's not your partner. It's not your situation to be offended about. You're offended for your bestie. And then acting on those feelings in defense of her, but really in defense of yourself, because you're vicariously experiencing all these things. And it's dangerous that you had no hesitation in being like, yup, sent him a message, outlined my issues with him, told him he needs to do better. Didn't talk to my bestie about it at all. Didn't tell her what I was going to do. Didn't tell her after I had already did it. Just decided to. I don't know, feeling cute. Might destroy my bestie's marriage today. You the Ask on 1 Bizzo for me. And also, I'm going to throw a little bit of this in here as well. I'm throwing Delulu at you because the fact that you think this is okay. And even after your friend reached out and was like, what are you doing? We have a lot to talk about. You owe him an apology first. And you being like, I'm not doing that. Yeah. You've got some delusions of grandeur going on here. Jenny with the $10 super on the YouTube side says, could she be jealous? That's what it sounded like she wants the wife BFF. Maybe, or maybe, I mean, her bestie probably definitely views her in a much different way than her partner does, right? So the relationship that bestie has with her values her so much that she can't stand to see her treated in any kind of way. And that's understandable, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she's like projecting a whole situation in here. I don't know. But her meddling was unwarranted. It was unneeded. It was unwanted. And now, even after the fact that she sees that all of that, it was unwanted, isn't willing to even consider the fact that she might be wrong. It's dangerous. That's a dangerous person to have in your life. Ladies and gentlemen, we have one of these. Call the fire department. Title of this story is, Am I the Astronaut for Kicking My Mother Out of My Wedding After She Brought My Ex as Her +1? I, male 30, started seeing June, female 29, about 3 years ago. My mother has never really liked June for a couple of reasons, mainly because she preferred July. Kidding, that line was not in there. I just felt like it was right. The main one being the fact that June didn't let my mom push her around. She kept firm boundaries, which I really admired, and she even helped me do the same. My mom hated this, calling June controlling and wishing I hadn't broken up with my previous girlfriend, Margot, who my mom loved. I was with Margot for 5 years, and it was horrible. Margot was very controlling and manipulative and always guilted me into things I wasn't comfortable with. But thanks to support from friends and my sister, I was able to leave her. It was hard, but I had help, and my life has improved since. My mom was very upset with this, but relationships don't last, so she eventually let it go until I started dating June about a year later. When June and I announced our engagement, my mom didn't freak out, which was weird considering my mom hates June. She was very calm, but I just took it as she was finally accepting this, so I didn't think much of it. Everything was fine and smooth up until the wedding. I gave both of my parents +1s to the wedding since they both remarried after I graduated college, so I'm not close to their spouses, but gave them the option of inviting them. We had a very small ceremony, just immediate family and a few close friends. After the ceremony, me and June went to take pictures and then met back with everyone we invited to the reception, which was pretty big. When we got there, my sister and June's best friend / maid of honor ran up to us in a panic. Before they even said anything, I spotted it. My mom was at a table with my dad's wife, and Margot. Mom, the meatloaf! I wanted to freak out, but June kept me calm. I walked over, pulled them both aside, and simply told them to leave. My mom tried to explain Margot and I are soulmates, and June is just in the way of true love, but I wasn't hearing it. I didn't care. Just got my best friends to escort them out, and I returned to the party, where luckily, after a few moments, I was able to relax and enjoy it. I really didn't think this would all turn into something huge, but me and June just got back from our honeymoon where we didn't have our phones, and seeing mine, I saw hundreds of texts from multiple family members. They all think I was an asshole for kicking my mom out of her only son's wedding. For the record, she was there for the ceremony, but apparently was really upset that she was kicked out from the reception. Here's a summary of my family's thoughts. Some think I could have just ignored Margot and didn't have to freak out. A few others, including my dad, think I should have just kicked Margot out and let my mom stay, but after the stunt my mom pulled, I didn't want her there either. I'm starting to second guess myself since everyone is really mad. June and my sister are on my side, but I fear that my dad may be right and I should have just let my mom stay and have Margot leave. So I've come to Reddit. Am I the astronaut? Hell no, you ain't. What do you think, Candy Thunder? Come on up and tell us what you think, Tater. We got the heat lamp on. We'll keep the tater warm, you know.
The tater.
The tater.
Am I the tater?
Heat lamp. Tater.
Dude, so far from the asshole. Like, as far as they come.
You're so far from the asshole, you're at the top of the head.
That's what I was going to say.
Hey! Great minds.
I think the mom must have twisted the story, because how could anybody be on the mom's side? You show up to your son's wedding trying to force some manipulative, controlling soulmate woman on him, and you're like, yeah, I should have a right to stay here at your wedding where you married somebody else. Like, how delusional? Ooh, button. How delusional can someone be? Like, to think that they have a seat at the table when they bring someone else to try to ruin a relationship.
It's ownership, I think. She still views her son as her property because she birthed him, right? She can do whatever the she wants. That's her son.
Such a gross mentality.
But yeah, she has to have manipulated the story that she told the family. And of course, controlling the narrative is the first thing that a narcissistic mother like this would do, right?
I think, misery loves company. So Mom and Margot are just the best of friends because they're both just manipulative little shits. That's what I think. I think that they need some. And someone said that they planned weddings, and that they had so many stories where exes were brought or came to the wedding. I'm like, at this point, like, there's no reason for you to be here. Like, we've decided to spend our life with someone else. But so let me show up and just show you what I'm missing.
I mean, but they do say, if anyone protests, speak now or forever hold your peace, right? So there is that portion of a ceremony that is designated for shit to go down. And I guess,
speak.
No, she would. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
So was Margot there for the ceremony or just the reception? It didn't really make that clear. Yeah. So he didn't spot her during the ceremony, but I guess you wouldn't. You're standing up there looking a different direction. You're not taking inventory of who's in the crowd. So let's say she was there for the ceremony. I'm surprised that she didn't stay. I'm at least surprised Mom didn't stand up and be like, "Oh, I protest. Get this trailer trash off of the stage. I have a replacement bride ready."
You know what's funny to me is that OP is questioning himself, like what he did, which is completely reasonable. Like a normal response to this abnormal situation. But he's questioning himself. So I just want to know how controlling his mom was. How manipulative was his mom if his mom clicked with Margot and then they're again trying to manipulate him together. Because now he's questioning his normal response. So to me, it sounds like he's been conditioned to believe that he shouldn't do something. Like he shouldn't stand up for himself. And so I think the mom, like, seeing her son be empowered to make decisions that benefit him and lead him to lead his best life. She's like, no, honey, no, that's not how we do things. You listen to mommy and mommy will lead the way.
And that all ties back to the ownership/control thing because she liked Margot because Margot was manipulative, but was willing to be manipulative on Team Mom. So Mom still had control of him. God. And then with June, she has no control. And that's what she doesn't like. It's not that she doesn't like who June is as a person. She doesn't like that she can't control him when he's with her.
As a parent, I'm like, when do you not need me? Like when my kids are grown. I'm like, when I'll be here. Like you just tell me and I'm going to show up for you whenever you need me. That's what I told Ava. I'm like, when you have a baby, like you let me know what you need from me and I am there 150%. But I'm not going to meddle in her life or I'm not going to meddle in Kieran's life and be like, hey. Like, why? I don't want that. I don't want to do that. I don't have that kind of time.
It's like haunting while you're still alive.
So, like,
you know what I mean? It's like
his mom needs a life. His mom needs a hobby. She needs something to occupy her time that is not meddling in her son's love life. He just got married. He's happy. Why? What?
Sorry, don't mean to interrupt, but Justina's comment, the speak now portion of the ceremony came because there was no record, so people had multiple marriages. So they allowed the person's other spouses a chance to speak up and be like, yes.
He's already taken.
This mother is already married to me and Elizabeth.
Right.
Interesting.
This mom is like, you only get to live the dream that I want to have for you. If not, I'm going to show up to your wedding with your ex and tell you that she's your soulmate. Oh. You are, OP, you are not the asshole. You are NTA. 150%. Your mom and your ex can fly here together on a special trip for just the two of them.
Yeah.
All expenses paid. Their own little honeymoon to Bitch Town at Ascon. Sorry.
You can be each other's Ascon +1.
Why do people think that they get a say in who you, like the woman before from the previous story, like, it's not your business. Mind your own. Like, I'm sure you've got some business to mind. Go mind it. This is not your thing. This is not your place. Go sit down.
Sit down.
And then I'll come up here.
Be humble.
And comment on your life. That's my place.
Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. This one is, Am I the Astronaut? My wife leaves every party we attend super early and I'm fed up. Hey all, I was hoping Reddit could give me some insight. First, a bunch of context. 6 years ago, I moved to this city. My wife bought her house and moved up here first. When my contract at the time was up, I followed her out here. The city is 2 hours away. I've got no friends of my own up here. This year has been interesting. There were 3 weddings, all of which my wife has been in. This is in addition to a trip to Ireland and a trip to Italy. Finally, I went from drinking every day to only drinking when I've got an excuse to drink, like at a party. It's been a struggle, but I've managed to get my alcoholism wrangled down to social drinking. On to the issue. In Ireland, we paid to do a pub crawl. The guide was fun and funny, and the other guests were fun too. We left at 9 p.m. after being out for 2 hours. I wasn't even feeling a buzz yet. That crawl was supposed to go until 1 a.m. I was upset, but swallowed my feelings at the hotel bar instead. At her friend's wedding in Italy, we were the first to leave. I spoke to the rest of the guests the following morning to find out nearly everyone else stayed out until 3 a.m. At our own wedding 3 years ago, she retreated to the bridal suite after 2 hours and did not come out. This was at 7 p.m. When last dance was called later that night, I had to convince her to come out and dance at my own wedding. Then there was this Saturday. While she's been out doing bachelorette parties, I've not been able to go out and be social all year. So I was especially excited about this party. She seems fine staying out when I'm not there. Ooh, that's an important note. She goes to bachelorette party and does stay out. When she's with you, she wants to go home early. The hosts included me in a group costume. I spent $100 on this costume, spent an hour on my makeup. As soon as the group photo was taken at 11 p.m., wife says it's time to go. Her best friend looked so hurt and confused. I doubt my wife even noticed. It feels like she was just waiting for that photo to be taken. The last guest of the party arrived 5 minutes before we left. In the car on the way home, we had an argument. I never get to leave the house and be social. Her rebuttal was, well, I don't force you to sit alone. Go out with your friends. My reply was, what friends? The ones I left in hometown? You left the pub crawl early. You left Olivia's wedding early. If it wasn't for the optics, you probably would have left our own wedding early. Just for once, I'd like to not be the first people leaving a party. Look at my costume. It took me an hour to get ready, and this'll take me an hour to get off my skin. Do you think I'm happy about leaving after 3 hours? I'm so desperate for social interaction, but I'm so torn. She's upset by what I said, and I can't help but feel that I'm in the wrong. I feel like a monkey's paw wish. You get the prettiest witch at the party, but you'll always be the first to leave. A monkey's paw wish? I do not know. Have not heard of that before. A monkey's paw wish. You get the prettiest witch at the party, but you'll always be the first to leave. Okay, so the question initially was, am I the astronaut? My wife leaves every party we attend super early and I'm fed up. So I'm torn on this as well because first, the whole she's fine staying out late with her friends but never wants to stay out late while I'm here or while I'm with her, that's concerning. Maybe she struggles to have fun with you. Okay, she wants to leave before he gets hammered and embarrasses both of them, and she knows one way to keep it under control, prevent that from happening, is just going home early. Okay, so the way that he presented this kept these two topics separate. And it was pretty clear now why that was done. But it did trick me into taking in 2 different chunks of information and not connecting the dots in it until afterward, until somebody else said it, until Candy Thunder and Tony Sparks said it. They were like, no, it's not that she doesn't have fun with him. She's trying to get home before he gets pissed drunk. Oh, yeah, he did in the very beginning be like, oh, by the way, working on my alcoholism. And then, like, why can't she have fun with me? Aside from that, which is an obvious issue that he has to connect the dots on, or she may have to communicate to him and make very clear why she's doing this for him to understand, because he's taking it personally right now. Like she just doesn't want to have fun with him, or maybe he knows and he's just in denial about it. No matter what, even if that wasn't an issue in this scenario, I would say you cannot put the weight of your happiness on your partner. You cannot. The brunt of your happiness, you are on the hook for. Your partner is not. It is not their duty to fulfill your happiness. It's a bonus if they do, but they have to worry about themselves as well. And when you put the weight of all your happiness on your partner, it becomes a very dangerous game. It is not fair to them for you to do that. So in this case, even if the alcohol wasn't an issue at all, I would say, look, it's on you to make new friends. And I know that's easy to say, right? But it sounds like she did, and she can't make them for you except connect dots through people she knows. So it's on you to start growing connections there, and you can't punish your partner for it. But since alcohol is part of the issue, you got to understand. But if he's in denial about this, what's going to connect those dots? Magic drop. That's right. This is where she already lived. I still think it's on him. Tell him why, be honest, or you sentence your marriage to turmoil. And maybe she has, and maybe this is part of the denial part of it. But if she hasn't, I think she's got to make that perfectly clear at some point. And at some point, he's got to communicate that his feelings are hurt here. And that's the perfect opportunity for her to say, don't you realize why I'm doing this? Don't you? Don't you? Ladies and gents, we get her once again. The Candy Thunder.
I will say that my response is going to be based on the fact that I was in a relationship with someone who was an alcoholic. And he's recovered now. He's healthy. But I think he will tell you that there is no, like, he completely abstains from alcohol. There is no alcohol in his life. Because he knows that there's, like, it's so easy to fall back into it. So I don't understand, if you have a problem with alcohol, if you consider yourself to be an alcoholic, why social drinking is accepted. I mean, it's a lifelong thing, like, it never goes away. It alters your brain. So I in my opinion, this woman has trauma from him being an alcoholic, and this is conjecture, but she's wanting, like, I've been embarrassed. I've been, like, trying to hide it. I've done things to hide it and to not accept it and to feel like it's not a problem, but it was always a problem. And so I think socially, like, if you have a problem with alcohol, you can't be a social drinker. But I also feel like the wife sucks too, because if you're going to choose to be with somebody who's recovering and who has this thing, you need to communicate with that person on why you're leaving early or why you don't want to be there. And maybe she did, and he's not including that. And he's just painting it as this is what's happening, not the part where they communicated. But I mean, you can't say I have a problem with alcoholism, but now I'm better. I'm just a social drinker. Like, those two things can't exist. So I think when he goes out and he's probably drinking too much or getting too far gone, and she doesn't want to deal with it. But I also don't understand the leaving her own wedding thing. Like, that's also very weird, which is why I think it's an ESH, because I think, I don't know, why would you marry someone if you're not going to understand that they have this issue? And that issue is going to take constant work every day for the rest of their lives. But why leave your wedding after 2 hours at the reception and go to bed at 7 p.m.? There's
another part, or could be another layer to this. Actually, there can't be, because she stays out late with her friends. Sans that, if that wasn't an issue, and maybe it isn't, maybe just says it is, I would say that she may have a very limited social battery. You know what I mean? It may be that she gets social exhaustion really quickly, which happens to a lot of people. And 2 and 3 hours doesn't sound like a lot to a guy who likes to stay out all night and party. But for somebody who has, like, social anxiety, that's a huge amount of time.
Right.
So if she had
it's also a huge amount of time if you're having to babysit someone and you're worried that they're going to get too drunk. That's a lot of time. And so
in DD time, that is a lot of time.
And somebody did say, he said he was drinking for 3 hours and wasn't even buzzed. If you're drinking for 3 hours, like drinking for 3 hours, and you're not buzzed, like, I feel like that's I don't know, Tony, you can tell us better, but we aren't really drinking. I don't mean that as in, like, an alcohol thing. I mean, I mean, like, he drinks more than we do.
I could just see the Wilson kind of view here, and it was this.
I don't mean that. I just, yeah, and like I said, I could not drink for 3 hours. I'd be face down. Like,
we'd be at home passed out watching a show.
But I don't know. Like, I've been on the other part of this, and it is a heavy place to be in. So maybe, but again, you can't marry someone knowing that they have this problem and then treat them like shit. Like, they have to find some way to work this out, or else this marriage is just doomed.
Yep.
Here they are. Right? Benadryl makes me feel loopy. So I don't know. No, I didn't mean that as Tony just drinks more than we do. So I feel like he could weigh in on the 3-hour thing. Yeah. Not because Tony has a drinking problem.
Have a buzz going after 3 hours.
You have a buzz?
Have a buzz going after 3 hours.
You have a problem. Okay,
or
there you go.
Or you're playing pace car because you expect it to be
Call
a long
Ted.
night. Tony Spark is jumping in.
Well, first off, after 3 hours, yeah,
Whoa.
I agree with that. You should have a.
Oh, it just went really fast.
But I mean, I kind of agree a little bit with the everyone sucks here because she's not communicating with him at what the real problem is because she's just wanting to leave early and not saying why she wants to leave early. And like you said, he's feeling hurt because he thinks that she just doesn't want to spend time with him and doesn't want to be out and be social. But when she goes out with her friends, she can be social, but also she doesn't have to worry about him doing something to embarrass her or embarrass them.
True. Yeah.
So that's why she can be out. And maybe that's why that's the escape for her of getting to have fun. Because when they go to these social functions together, she can't have that fun because she's always like on guard of what's going to happen. She's babysitting. She knows that there's a ticking, like there's a countdown of when they have to go.
Right.
Because she can probably see him start to drink more and more and more and be like,
she's like, we're at phase 3. I only got 15 minutes, y'all.
No.
We're at phase 3.
Someone said 3 hours. Just curious, have you ever drank with people in the military? My parents were in, I mean, my dad was in the military, but my parents weren't big drinkers either. So it wasn't a thing for us.
Hey there, it's Dusty again with another Reddit story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for being disgusted and just saying okay when my fiance broke up with me? So, I don't know, man. I, 28, had been with my fiance, Alex, 34, since 2020. We met at a friend's party, hit it off, and had been together ever since. He finished his doctorate in economics just last year. Since then, he has been working at the uni. I have my master's in media sciences and decided to start working instead of going for a PhD. Okay, so the problem is that Alex broke up with me last Monday. It was literally so surreal and honestly just weird. For the past few months, he's been acting strange. He was making demands and then dropping them immediately. Few examples. He told me we were going to paint our walls back from dark green to white. When I asked why, he just said, for sake, forget it, and never brought it up again, even when I asked. Another time he came home and got mad because I was sitting on the couch with my head covered in a blanket. I had cramps. He was upset because I was just sitting there watching Netflix. Mind you, the house was spotless. When I tried to talk about it, he said, forget it, it's not a big deal. This kind of became common. Every time I tried to communicate, tried to figure out what was going on, whether it was something I did or maybe he was just stressed at work, he would just say everything was fine. But he was clearly seething with rage. I didn't even have to do anything. He would find something to complain about, the apartment, clothes, me, work, etc. So I gave him space, which apparently was also wrong. I told him I was going to help my parents with repairs for a few days, and somehow that was also wrong because he wanted to renovate the apartment too. Then on Monday, I got a text saying that we needed to talk. I knew what was coming, and after the last few months, I had made peace with it. When I came home, he was sitting on the couch. He didn't even wait for me to take off my jacket before saying, I want to break up. Then the verbal diarrhea started. He told me he resented me, first because I didn't pursue my academic career further, even though I was capable, and he didn't want to upset me at the time. Then when I started making more money, since he didn't make much as a PhD student, he felt like I should have the last word financially, and he hated it. Mind you, I never said anything like it's my money, so I have the final say. That's a rule he imposed upon himself, and he hated it. He said he hated our paint scheme, the couch, and even our crock pot. Then he told me he had rejected a better PhD program to stay here because I had already started my job by the time he got the acceptance letters. Only he never told me he had even applied overseas. He said a few months ago he checked in with a friend who's in that program, saw how they were thriving, and decided that I ruined his life. He said I had too much control over his life, that he hated the idea that I could just decide not to pay for things and f him over. I honestly don't even know what that means. He also said that he hated that all of his friends loved me and didn't let him vent about me. Then he said again, I'm done. I was floored. I had already made peace with the idea that we were just ending, and it hurt, but after that rant, I was just disgusted. I looked at him, probably with a disgusted expression, and said, okay. He lost it. He said this is exactly what he meant, that it was all horrible. We had been together for 4 years, and all I had to say was okay to our breakup. I just asked if he wanted to stay there while he figured out where to go. He said, typical, of course you're holding the apartment over me, and started ranting again, so I just left. I told my parents, and they're also confused. My dad suggested that I reach out to our landlord and explain the situation to see what options I have. I can keep paying the rent, no problem myself. He covered the utilities and some subscriptions. Just to reiterate, I never had a problem with this. I saw that he was chasing his dream, and that was more important to me than a 50-50 financial split. I make good money, and I am happy with my job. I never saw it as slaving away. I always had the mentality that my money was our money because we were building a life together. Of course, I had my own savings and fun money, but I honestly never cared. As long as I felt that he was working towards something and wasn't taking advantage of me, I was fine with it, more than fine. Alex is still mad. He's going between texting me like a robot about the logistics of the split to being a seething asshole complaining about everything. I'm not even hurt anymore. I just feel nauseated by him at this point. I don't know. Should I have reacted differently? Quick break. There is an edit. What do you think so far? I think he's disgusted with himself. He's disgusted with himself because he's relying on someone else to survive. And the fact his whole, I hate that you could just decide not to pay for something and screw me over is he's seeing financial abuse where there is none. He's seeing the potential for financial abuse as a sign of weakness in himself. He is disgusted with himself for being second best to a woman, and he can't handle it. He can't handle not being the better in a relationship. My boy, you are not ready for a relationship. So good for you. You're not ready for a relationship because you can't be the man, the head honcho, the one who makes the rules. Shit. Because she made more money, you felt like you couldn't have the financial say and you hated that. And because of an opportunity that you turned down, you chose to turn down that your partner didn't even know about, you decided that she ruined your life because of an action that you took. I mean, you all but spelled it out for us. Every action you have taken, you have regretted, but blamed her for. You got a whole lot of you problems, man. And I would suggest focusing 100% on your studies moving forward for the foreseeable future because a relationship is not where you need to be. It is unhealthy for you and for your partner. Here's the edit. Thank you for all of your opinions. It was nice to get this off my chest, LOL. Just to clarify, though, I don't feel like a victim. I feel like something happened and my relationship just turned bad. He behaved like an asshole, but that is the extent of it. Very clearly, something is going on, but he doesn't want me to be a part of whatever it is, and I have to respect that. Now I just have to detangle myself legally from him, and after that, I'll just be left alone with my ugly green wall color. I think I might also adopt a cat, as my ex was really allergic. And for those of you thinking it, he could absolutely be cheating, and that could be fueling this as well. But if he's cheating, I think he's cheating because he needed to feel superior to someone. So he found someone else that he could be superior to. And just use that as fuel to end things. Yeah, actually, Candy Thunder, I'd love to have you come up and talk about this because when you're here, I just love to have your feedback. So let's bring you up.
The only thing I want to say is grow the up, you misogynistic prick. Because how dare you blame your life on somebody else when you are the one that makes your choices? Like, to me, this is just, I'm supposed to be the man. I'm supposed to earn the money. I'm supposed to pay for everything. I'm supposed to control everything. Says who? Like, says who? Because he's blaming every choice he made on his fiance. Like, blaming it all. Like, he's supposed to, what? Like, what? Make your choices and live your life. Like, instead of blaming somebody else. Like, control the voice inside your head.
I don't even know that, so I don't even know that he, like, truly blames her. He does on the surface level here. 100%. I think he knows at some level what's happening here. You know what's the funniest part of all of this? He's so upset because at his core with everything that's happening right now and how he feels positionally in this relationship, he probably translates this internally too as he feels like her bitch right now. And that's why he can't do it. He can't handle that. And OP, I would say
that your insecurities have ruined your relationship. If that's how he really feels, his insecurities ran rampant and just tanked this whole thing because you didn't make as much money, because you chose to do something else instead of stick with what you had originally, like he had originally planned to do. And that's all her fault. This grown-ass man, you're 34 years old, dude, by the way, 34. Grow the up. But it's not her problem.
No.
It's his problem.
So his paths forward are probably find someone who he can more easily identify as easily controlled and made as a subordinate, or to not get into a relationship, which is the thing he should do, and focus on his studies and work on himself to try to get to a healthier place. But I think this is just he's gonna have a different target next time.
This guy, I feel like if this was reversed and he was the main earner, like would have held this over her head all day, every day, and she would have just had to deal with it. She probably wouldn't have stayed, but she seems like she's got, like, she can see the shit. So she was like, okay, then I guess we're broken up.
And you know what? That's probably what triggered like his whole thoughts of her having the final say financially. It's because he probably had this thought where he was like, I'm going to say that we have to do this, and that's just it because I'm the man. But wait, she makes more money than me. Oh, I hate this.
Relationships aren't about control. You're in control of your life, not your partner. Your partner adds to your life. Your partner fills up your cup. Your partner is supposed to be there to enjoy the happiness with you. But instead, you just made everything their fault. So when you're done with your temper tantrum that you're throwing here, move the on, grow up, become a decent human being, and then try again. But I don't think you're capable.
No.
I don't think people like this are capable of, and it's men and women. It's not just men that act like this. There's women that act like this too.
He's got a much better chance of becoming a doctor than he does becoming a decent human being.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't you want him as your, oh no, I guess he's getting PhDs. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has a
God,
PhD.
the Phoebe joke.
Yeah,
the
I'm sure
Phoebe
he's
joke
got a
just popped into
PhD.
mind.
I'm sure of it. But he didn't realize that it was his own insecurities and his own thoughts that created this entire narrative. And he ruined an entire relationship based on what he believed, like based on what he thought, instead of having a conversation with somebody, instead of communicating his insecurities. He thought that was his reality. That's what he believed was actually happening.
His emasculation came from math. You know what I mean?
She made more money.
It was the simple math of her being in a position of numerical control where he was a subordinate and thus her bitch.
Right.
What the hell? Hey, Dusty Thunder here, and I wanted to thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that content, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. Also, you can find swag and so much more at dusty-thunder.com, and you'll find even more content on all of our platforms. We're on TikTok, YouTube. We now have an official Facebook page that we'll be posting stories to as well. We have podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and so much more. You can see all of our content platforms on Linktree, which is linked in my bio. Engage with us wherever you're enjoying content and do your best to avoid the Askonauts today. Thanks again.